Today, I want to talk about something that sounds extremely simple, but in my opinion, it's one of the most important concepts in trading: support and resistance. Almost every professional trader I know uses some form of it. Doesn't matter if they trade stocks, futures, crypto, or options. The concept is universal, but here's the problem. Most people misunderstand it. They think support and resistance is just random lines on a chart. It's not. Support and resistance is simply a way of identifying where money is likely to enter or exit the market. Once you truly understand that idea, the entire market starts to make a lot more sense. Let's start with the basics. Support is an area where buyers historically stepped in, and resistance is an area where sellers historically stepped in. But the key word here is area. It's not a single exact price. Markets, they're driven by human behavior and institutional positioning. When price reaches certain levels where large buyers or sellers previously acted, those same participants often respond again, and that's what creates support and resistance. It's essentially the market's memory, and price remembers where important transactions happen, and traders use that information to anticipate where reactions might occur in the future. A lot of people ask why the market respects certain levels so consistently, and there's three main reasons. The first is institutional liquidity. Large funds, they can't just enter or exit a position randomly. They need liquidity, and that means they tend to transact around major levels where there are enough buyers and sellers to absorb their size. The second is psychology. The stocks sold off from a level previously, traders remember that, and when price returns to that level again, people start anticipating a similar reaction. And the third is positioning. Large traders who missed a move often wait for a price to return to certain levels so they can participate. All of this creates clusters of orders around certain prices, and those clusters are what we call support and resistance. Markets remember where big reactions happened. So if a stock fell hard from a certain level before, that level becomes extremely meaningful. And when a price returns there again, traders pay attention. And sometimes price rejects again. Sometimes it breaks through and creates a breakout, but either way, that level becomes important. That's why traders mark these areas. They're not predicting the future. They're just identifying where reactions are likely to occur. Support and resistance, it gives traders structure. Without structure, trading becomes guessing. But when you know where important levels are, you can build trades around them. So if the price is approaching a major resistance level, you know sellers may appear. And if a price is approaching strong support, that's where buyers may step in. And that allows you to create trades with defined risk. And defined risk is everything in trading. Not all levels are equal either. Some levels matter far more than others, and the strongest levels usually have three characteristics. First, they cause a large reaction before. The price moved violently away from a level in the past. It means large money was involved. Second, the level was tested multiple times. The more times price reacts to a level, the more important it becomes. And the third, the level appears on higher time frames. Daily or weekly levels are usually the most important levels on smaller charts. Professional traders spend most of their time focusing on these larger levels. The way I personally look at charts is simple. I don't use dozens of indicators. I focus on the price. I start with the higher time frame, usually the daily chart, and I look for areas where price made strong reactions, large sell-offs, large breakouts, and major reversals. Those areas become my levels. Then I drop down to smaller time frames to refine them. But the key levels almost always come from higher time frames. Let me show you guys an example. We are going to look at an SPX daily chart here. And I'm going to go back not too far, just 2025, and show you guys how to draw the most important levels. What happened in 2025 that caused the major sell-off was the tariffs. Printed a major top here around 61.50. And like I said, these areas are just a range. It doesn't need to be a precise level. The reason why is because if your level is too precise, you may miss your entry or your exit. Just have a range of where you want to get in and get out, and just focus on the bigger picture. The major top was 61.50, so we're going to mark that level. The next huge level is where the market bottomed eventually last year after Trump announced the delay in tariffs. So SPX bottomed out around 4,800. So we have two of the most important levels in the past year and a half. Now we have two important data points: the area of where the market bottomed, where it topped, and where now we got to figure out where you're going to enter. When the market bottomed at 4,800, one way to identify if this is actually a major level is zoom out. Going back to the 2021 top, when the market topped out after the Fed announced QT, it lines up exactly where we bottomed in 2025. So that alone is a level where institutional traders, hedge funds, and just smart money knew to buy down here. Did you need to buy at that exact level to make money? You didn't. The market also loves round numbers. Seeing a 1,300 point drop in SPX is huge. 1,000 point drop, obviously just as big. think entering around 5,000 would have been a huge level as well. You can mark 5,000 as a potential entry point. That alone right there, I mean, if you bought their SPX calls a month out, you could do SPY as well. It's cheaper. If you just bought a 1 month out from April 2nd, you fast forward to where the price is around, let's say May 5th, May 4th. It's a 700 point move in 1 month. Seeing that type of move in the S&P, it never happens. This is one of those moments where you wait for a major headline, wait for the market to sell off and bottom, and then wait for the narrative to shift, and then you trade off the key levels. Major market top, right? Major support level that tested from a few years ago, and then seeing the round numbers is the next important level to draw. The next important level you're going to look at is where the market bottomed out in 2024. So you can mark that as your next potential entry point, which lines up where the higher low is from April 17th. So that's your next important entry point and support level that got reclaimed once we saw the market start to bounce. From there, you zoom closer to where we're at in current times is where's the current high? It's at right near 7,000 is where the market topped out. And we're at 6740 now. Where's the next important support level, the major one? It's going to be around 6520. This is the line in the sand for the bulls for 2026. This level fails, you could see a retest back at 6,100. This range here, 7,000, 6,500, it's somewhat similar to seeing just on a smaller scale. Right, we dropped from 6,100 to 4,800. This is a smaller version of that. We haven't had any huge macro news to cause a bigger sell-off. We're just in a range, but you at least know how to draw the range now. As long as we stay in this range, your sizing cannot be huge unless we see a back test at 6,500 and it holds, and then the narrative in the market shifts. Maybe the Fed cuts more rates this year, the war in Iran ends sooner than expected, then that's when you start to press your bets. But in the interim, as we stay in this range, you have to be more careful. The big question now is, okay, well, once SPX breaks 7,000, then what happens? You have to look at what happened in the past every time we broke a new all-time high. The last time we had a major top was 6,100, and we saw about an 850 point move. Once SPX breaks this level, you have to have an idea that it can happen again, where you could see a 700 to 1,000 point run at some point this year. This is the basics of how to draw the most important levels and how to trade them. Buying at support when the narrative in the market context changes, more bullish, that's when you get aggressive. And then also on the upside, when SPX breaks above 7,000 and also the narrative changes, something happens at the Fed meeting or something geopolitically changes that's more bullish, then that's when you press your bet again. That's the basics of support and resistance. I'm going to do more examples in the future with other videos with stocks, but you at least have an idea of how to use it when looking at the index, because the S&P alone is your compass for the market. If you can master the levels and trading SPX, you can trade any stock. Role reversal. Support often becomes resistance, and resistance often becomes support. The price breaks below support, buyers become trapped, and when the price returns to that level, many sell to exit their position. That selling pressure turns support into resistance, and the opposite happens when resistance breaks. The sellers get trapped, and when price returns, they buy back. That creates new support. This behavior is very common in the markets. Breakouts versus rejections. When price reaches a level, two things can happen. The level holds and price rejects, or the level breaks and price continues. Both situations can be traded. If resistance holds, traders may short the rejection. If resistance breaks, traders may buy the breakout. But the key is waiting for confirmation. The market should prove the move first. Why patience matters. Most beginner traders lose money because they trade in the middle of nowhere. They enter positions when price is not near meaningful levels. That means there's no structure and no edge. Professional traders wait. They let the price come to them. They wait for the market to reach areas where probability improves. The patience separates experienced traders from beginners. Risk management. Levels work best when combined with risk management. If you buy support, your stop usually goes slightly below the level. If the level breaks, the trade idea is invalid. If you short resistance, your stop usually goes slightly above that level. This allows you to control risk while still participating in opportunity. Why option traders love levels. Support and resistance are especially useful for options traders. Options require timing. You enter too early, the option can lose value quickly. But when you enter near a key level, the move often happens faster. That speed benefits options traders because options value can increase rapidly. The biggest mistake traders make is overcomplicating support and resistance. They draw too many lines. They try to predict every small movement, but the market doesn't care about small levels. Focus on the major ones, the levels that created real reactions. Those are the levels institutions care about. Core philosophy. Trading is about probabilities. Support and resistance don't guarantee anything, but they improve the odds. They help identify opportunity, define risk, and create structure in the market. Once you learn to see these levels clearly, the market begins to make much more sense. Support and resistance may seem simple, but mastering them takes time. It requires studying charts, watching how price reacts, and staying patient. The best trades often come from waiting for the market to react to levels that matter. When you combine patience, risk management, and strong levels, trading becomes much more structured. And that structure is where consistency begins.